Ahoy there, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome to another standalone lesson for the Catskull Academy. Now today's video is going to be a little bit different than usual. You should already have spotted on screen we're not in game today, we're going to actually be using an external tool called Sweet, Silky's wonderful Eve Echoes tool, and this is an incredible piece of software that we're going to go over in today's video, how to use this, how to get it set up. Now, I normally use this on Android, it's also available for iOS, both in beta, and there is an alpha build variant for PC, both Windows, Mac, and Linux. So I will put download links to all of that in the description. As I said, I normally use Android. Today, though, to showcase this, I'm going to be using the PC version, the Windows variant, just because it's easier for me to record and showcase on a big screen. But everything is laid out exactly the same on the PC version as it is on Android and iOS, so it should be really easy to navigate. There's a couple of features missing on the PC versions, but we'll talk about those later on. Now, the power of this tool is for you to look at ships and see how they would work with your current skills, use it as a way to plan what skills you're going to be using in future, look at how to fit a ship in different ways to try and achieve different goals without actually having the ship and everything available. Now, unfortunately, Eve Echoes still does not have an active public API. This means that most of this does have to be done manually, but personally, I find this can be quite cathartic and good fun to do, especially if I'm out and about and I may not be in Wi-Fi or mobile data signal, so it gives me something Eve Echoes related that I can do when I'm sitting at the bottom of a mine shaft somewhere. Anyway, so let's jump right in to getting this set up and showcasing how this works. Now, I've downloaded the app, I've installed it here, and once you load it up, you should have a page that looks something like this. It'll start you off on the character browser. We've got a hamburger menu in the top left, and we've got a hamburger menu in the bottom right. The one in the bottom right allows us to add new characters, to paste in information, and if you're on Android or iOS, you can also use it to scan in a QR code, which we'll talk about later, because that's a very powerful addition that I'm adding to videos as we go forward. Now we're going to start by going onto the left side menu here, and you can see we've got a whole load of stuff down here. First of all, starting at the bottom, import and export data. If you are using this on one particular device and you decide you want to migrate to another one, you can export your data, move that onto whatever device you want to use, and import from there. This means on my phone, I could export my data and then import it here onto PC, and vice versa. If you wanted to download this on PC because it's easier for you to do than tapping away on a phone, you could do it on PC, then Bluetooth it across to your phone and import it in the Android or iOS version of the app. Then we have, going from the top down, default pilot. This allows us to choose which pilot we want to use. As standard, we have a no skill variant and a max skill variant. I'll show you how we're going to add our own pilots in just a moment. We then have the planetary interaction. This allows us to tap to refresh and we can see like how long we've got. Basically, if you go into the game and you tap your timers, tap it here as well and you'll get a notification that that's beginning to run low. We then have the character browser where we can go in and have a look at our individual characters. The market browser, which again gives us an idea of, we can look through all of the different ideas here, all the different items in the game. So if you want to have a look at, for example, how much is a medium autocannon, a GIST-DC type medium autocannon, we can have a look at some of the information here. We can look at its raw attributes and get full info here. This is a nice, easy way to sort of just check up on what a module does and how it works. Now, yeah, it's not as graphically impressive as like going in-game and using the actual market, but the information is all easily accessible here. It's readily laid out. I really like the work that Silky's been doing on this. I want to just jump in here and say, by the way, Silky doesn't even know that I'm recording another one of these. He didn't even really know I was doing the first one. I just kind of announced it and went, hey, by the way, here's a video. So if you guys are enjoying this tool, if you do find this useful, please head across to his Discord, show him some love and support, and if you can, pledge to donate and help him out and keep this going. It's an incredibly powerful tool. Dude definitely needs to be reimbursed for his work here. Anyway, coming out of the market browser, we then have the fitting tool. We'll go into that in detail in a moment. Announcements, which does exactly as it says on the tin. This is kind of a look at all the new things that are coming to the app. So you get notified and notifications here, showing you all the new stuff that's been added in new builds. So when it updates, you can check here to see what it is. And of course, we have the difference between going from light mode to dark mode. Keep it on dark mode if you don't want to burn your retinas out. Finally then, at the bottom, sorry, he says clicking off, we have access to his Patreon, his Discord, his Twitch, and his Twitter. So get on there and show some love. Anyway, with all that said and done then, let's actually have a look at getting set up with a pilot. So there are a couple of different ways we can do this. Obviously, as you've seen here, we have the no skills and the max skills variant. If we go into character browser and then into the toggle down here, the hamburger menu, we can go to add a new pilot. And here we can add a name. So for example, I'm just going to go with Captain Benzie because of course I am, and I'm trying not to knock my microphone cable. There we go. That's all in. Now we have the character here. We can go in and we can do all kinds of things with this. If we click on that or tap on it, you've got the full skill tree here, which is exactly as it is in game, divided up in the exact same way. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and go through every single skill I have on Captain Benzie. So let's just give an example. Let's go into Spaceship Command. We're going to go into Frigate Command, train it once, twice, 3, 4, and you'll see that opens up Advanced Frigate Command, because remember, if you have Frigate Command at 4, you can open up Advanced Frigate Command, or we can just keep trading. So I'm going to click and go through there, and we just kind of add all the skills that we have here. So I'm just going to get some frigate skills in here there. So we're going to close the Spaceship Command tab now, go into Navigation. I have Afterburner all the way up at 554. And the same with micro warp drive operation. You can see you can just kind of add these one by one. We're going to minimize those down. As I said, I'm not going to go through all of this to a crazy degree. I just want to kind of get the basics so we can then have a look in regards to fitting this with it being somewhat realistic. And you just kind of click and tap through everything that you need. I'm just going to go straight to engineering, frigate engineering, all the way up to 555, which is how I have it in the game. And here I am going to add destroyer engineering because it does affect fitting a frigate with the high slots, and so on and so forth. Finally then, let's go into laser, small laser operation. Let's get this one all the way up. Yeah, you thought I was going to go for cannons, didn't you? Put your hands up if you thought I was about to go for cannons on a demonstration video. But nope, there we go. I've gone for small lasers because what we're going to have a look at is using this to fit a succubus, just as an idea of how this could fit. And of course, you can add all your other skills and that in here as well. I just don't have the time to be going for all this. We're going to hit back. We've got Captain Benzie there. We can go in and out nice and easily. We can tap this little bit here and we can change the name. We've got an ID here that we can transfer across, and we can also do this as a QR code. Now this is really useful because if you don't have a way to easily transfer files from your PC to your phone, for example, you can just go into the phone app, go into that little hamburger menu in the bottom right, and it's got a scan QR. You can scan it from your screen here. You can actually also save it and then print it out if you wanted to, or Bluetooth it, or like I do, put it in videos. And that's basically how it works. If you're in the mobile app as well, when you go to scan a QR code, you'll notice at the bottom there is also an image sort of icon. You can tap on that and it'll allow you to pull up an image from your phone as well, because people were saying, well, hang on a second, Benzie, if I watch your videos on my phone and I want to scan a QR code, how can I do that? The simple answer is you just take a screenshot. While you're watching my video, when a QR code pops up, take a screenshot of it, come into Suite, go into the QR reader, and then change it to image, open up that image and it'll scan it through and load all of the data that way. I cannot overstate how amazing this app really is. Anyway, so we now have a character in here, and if you've got multiple characters here, you can also use this little toggle to drag it up and down and reorder them so that you have your characters where you want them. So now, with a character loaded into the app, let's go down to our fitting tool. We are then going to open here, and again we can use a QR, we can pull that in fact that's the symbol there that I'm talking about, so we could load up a QR file and do it that way. I'm not going to worry here. Let's go in to a new one. We're going to look at a frigate, and I've got to remember where these are, or if you can't remember where they hide, just start to type it in here, and you'll see there we have the succubus. Now this brings you to the fitting panel, and it's a little bit different here on PC than it is on iOS, Android, but you should still be able to get this nice and easy. We can click up here and we can rename it in a moment. There we are, tap on here. We're going to leave this as unnamed fitting, but you can change that to whatever you want it to. You can save it, you can share it, and that sharing again goes through a QR code. You can copy that, you can save it, you can do all kinds of stuff there. Let's have a look, and we want to load in a particular pilot. So by clicking on this icon or tapping on this icon, which looks a little bit like sort of a a piece from Cluedo or something, we can tap on that, or Clue for you Americans. Tap on that, come through and we can either go for a no skill and see how we could fit it there, go for max skills so you can see what it'd be like if you're flying it in fulmination and have every single thing trained. This can be actually quite interesting for things like cruisers and above that use drones, because it allows you to see what it would be like if you had full drone skills as well, which I know it doesn't make a huge difference, but it can be fun. We're going to click on Captain Benzie and load me in here, and you'll see it now says Captain Benzie Succubus. So we've got all of that there, estimated price, full details here. So we're going to go into the high slots here. Now we can just click on these one by one and add in what we want to, or we can just go fit all slots, because all three of these high slots are going to be the same. And again, we can either go through the menus, small pulse lasers, small beam lasers, or you can just search for them at the top there. So we're going to go for some Senti C-type small beam lasers, and you'll see it's fitted all three of those in. If we tap clear, it gets rid of all of them. So let's just go back through and lasers, small pulse lasers, no, sorry, small beam lasers. Let's not make that mistake again. Senti small C-type, and there they are. We can also then just click this little arrow or tap it to close that down. We've got our mids. I'm not saying this is a good fit, by the way. I'm really not suggesting this as a good fit. It's just kind of a let's throw some stuff together and see how it works. And we're going to go for a scram. That should hopefully... scram. Do I need to hit enter? No, it's just going to be awkward. Okay, so let's go in this way. Warp scrambling module. It is an app that, of course, is in alpha here on PC, beta on iOS and Android. And if you spot any bugs, do let people know. It's Flex with a Predator warp scrambler, even though they're like billions of ISK because they don't really exist anymore. And then for the heck of it, what should we go with? Well, let's go with another. No, let's go with a web. Stasis Webifier, so electronic warfare, stasis Webifier, and a Predator stasis web. Again, please don't comment down below, oh my goodness, Benzie, that fit is terrible. I'm well aware. Then we can go in and have a look at afterburners. Let's put on a medium afterburner and see which ones here we can fit in. Let's go for a Centum C-type. That's what I wanted for the mid slot. I'm sitting there thinking that should be a shield field module, but oh well. Centum C-type medium afterburner, let's add that in. Can we then fit in a medium shield extender as well with my current skills? Let's try with the Patriot. No, we can't. You see, we have massively overshot our power grid there. Okay, so we can bear that in mind. Let's now just finally go with weapon upgrade modules. Let's add a heatsink because this fit is going to be terrible. Centum C-type heatsink. Now let's go into the engineering rigs. If you wanted to know what kind of power grid rig you're going to need for that, let's see if we can search for power grid. Let's see if I can spell power grid first. No, we're still going to have this little bug where it's not searching properly. That's okay. Let's go into engineering rigs, engineer rigs, and then we have the ancillary power grid router 1. Is that going to be enough on its own? No, it isn't. So let's go in again, engineering rigs, engineer rigs, and ancillary power grid router 3. That's still not going to be enough. If we put all three of these slots with an engineer rigs, ancillary power grid router 3, you can see that is still not enough there on our power grid to actually fit this. This is the point of something like this. We can see here that if you wanted a medium shield extender and a medium afterburner, that's just not going to fit. And you don't have to go out and buy all of that stuff and 3 auxiliary power grid routers there and fit them to a ship and then go, oh no, it doesn't actually work. So now we can sit there and go, right, okay, that Patriot medium shield extender, let us get rid of that, and we'll put just a standard shield extender, a small shield extender there, a trapper, small shield extender, and that's now fitting within our power grid comfortably. Of course it is, because we're currently sitting on 3 ancillary power grid router 3s. You see, if I take that out, that's still now not quite going to fit, so we can now play around with this. Okay, so the Centum C-type is a bit too much, but what if we were to reduce this down to something like a Republic Fleet medium afterburner? Yeah, that works. Okay, so let's go up one from a Republic Fleet medium afterburner. Let's have a look. Can we get a Ranger? No, we can't. Not quite. How close that is. But what we could do here is, again, close this down. Let's go into the mid slots and let's swap out the Predator Warp Scram. No, that's a 7 megawatt. Yep, cool. And we're going to go into electronic warfare. We're going to look for there we are. Warp scrambling modules completely fallen out of my head. Republic fleet. And now that fits. We can then finally just go into things like the combat rigs and screw it. Let's go weapon rigs, laser rigs, and we're going to go a collision accelerator 3, a burst aerator 3 for the laser as well. Laser burst aerator 3. And for the heck of it, let's add on a defensive rig, a shield rig, and we're just going to go for the field extender 3 just to give us a bigger shield. Again, not a good fit, but hey, it'll do. Engineering rigs. Let's go into navigation rigs, go for the oh-so-expensive auxiliary thrusters, navigation rigs, and again, we're going to go for a polycarbon engine housing, and just because, let's have a look. If I look at the stats here down the sides, I can see how this is all working. Are we capacitor stable? Yeah, we kind of are. We've got some... down here, we've got the speeds. Maximum velocity is right up there at 6,434.2. That is insane. But our agility and all of that inertia modifier here is still pretty high. So let's just go with another. I said I wasn't going to take this seriously, but here I am taking it seriously. Polycarbon engine housing 3, let's bring that down even more. There we are, it's now below 1, which I'm pretty happy with. Finally, you could go into nanocores if you wanted. We'll just go for the Dark Halo core because it looks absolutely amazing. The main attribute is going to be, let's go laser damage. Probably should be shield, but screw it. And you can go through all the trainables here as well and sort of get an approximate there and set these and change them and so on and so forth. You can see there you get the different menu of what it was you actually rolled. So we're going to have the inertia modifier one. So on and so forth, close down that nanocore. Now here on the right hand side you can now see we have our stats. We've got a DPS here of 490.72 based on the skills that I have trained. If I change those skills, you'll see that DPS stat changes as well. You can see over here as well, this is sort of our combined, I think, at the very end. This confused me beforehand and I've completely forgotten what it all was, but just focus on looking at the stats that make sense to you. Alpha is an important one here. This is something that I wish that EVE Echo's fitting screen actually showed, that EVE Online fitting screen actually does. This is the damage you do per strike. So it's not damage per second, it's damage per shot, with all 3 of those lasers firing at once. That is our theoretical maximum damage. Then once we divide that by the cycle time of the weapons, that gives us our DPS of, in this case, 490.72. We can look at our resistances here and see how this all stands and how it stacks up on the ship again based on our situation. We can look at its shield, its armor, and all of that here. As we come down, we've got capacitor stats, which we can open and close. Nihilist environment, if you want to change this to see how you stand in Nihilist space, really useful there. And we're going to close all that up. And then we've got your miscellaneous details here at the bottom. So we know the signature radius is 26.5 meters, our source radius 128.6. You've got full stats here to showcase exactly how this works. This is an excellent tool because there you can see I didn't have to worry about going out and buying auxiliary power grids, expensive rigs. I don't want to be doing that, and I can sit there and figure out, right, okay, if I can't fit a C-type, but I can go for a Ranger, and once I've got the Ranger, I can change a couple of other bits and pieces around to fit that in. You can play with things, and it'll save you a lot of ISK doing this. The key point I really want to make, though, is once this is done, I'm just going to hit save. It's an old habit. If you go into that QR reader and you go to load the image, you can load up a screenshot of a QR code from one of my videos, or if you're running it on, you've got Suite on your phone and you're watching a video on the PC, pause the video, open up the QR scanner there, and then you can just literally scan it off the screen and it'll load that fit in with you. You load in your character to get your stats and it'll showcase how that fit works with your stats. The main reason for this is some people did point out that some of the fits that I've shown before do rely on very high skills. It means that you can load in that exact fit and then you can tweak it a little bit. If you're finding that the power grid doesn't fit, for example, you can swap some modules around at different meta levels and see if you can get it to work that way. Or you might look at a fit of mine and go, I reckon I can get higher DPS than that, or I can get higher flight velocity. Let me play around with it and do different things. And that's the concept here. That's what we're looking at here with Suite. And it's an incredibly powerful tool. Ultimately, I hope this is useful to you. It has been a life-changing situation for me. Obviously, I have access to Fulmination. I can sort of do this just in there, but it requires me having to type in 11-digit codes, find the 11-digit code for every item, type it in, magic that up, and play around with it. Here I can just play around with it, find a fit that I want to try, type in the codes, magic it all up for me on Fulmination, go out and test it, and if it doesn't work, I can play around with it more here on the Sweet app. So again, I'm going to put the links for this app in the description of this video. If you enjoy this video, please hit like, let me know that this was useful to you, subscribe to the channel for all things Eve Echoes, and if you want to go and support me on Patreon, that would be amazing. And of course, go and support Silky as well. This app is insanely good, and I would just hate for this guy to ultimately one day go, oh, I can't do this anymore, because I don't want to lose this app. It's amazing. Anyway, folks, hopefully this has helped you. Let me know in the comment section down below. Otherwise, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.